Hi, I'm showcasing the work that I did over the last 2 weeks with Career Foundry, using UX design theory to create a vocab learning app called Wordish. So let me give you an overview first of the presentation. First, we will look at how competitive and user research creates a persona and introduce you to that persona. Second, we will look at the brief of the task. Third, we will look at the first prototype and then how the usability testing influences a prototype, and then look at the revised prototype and the key takeaways of this project. So let's get into it. Meet our persona. Our persona is Lucy. She's 25, female, English, and working as a marketer for a startup in Berlin. We create a persona in order to humanize our potential user and to highlight their goals and behaviors. So how do we do that? Well, we use competitive research and user research to shape our persona. The persona's pain point and behaviors dictate what we respond to a brief. Lucy works 40 hours a week, and her career and her social life are very important to her. Lucy is both a creative and competitive person. She loves art and uses sports apps to track her activity levels when she works out with her friends. Now let's look at her needs and pain points. First we look at her quotes. I moved to Berlin to experience a new culture and being able to communicate with people in their language. Now let's look at her needs and pain points. She wants to learn a language to be fun. Learning a language to be fun is something that she can easily integrate into her busy work and social life. Lucy's goal is to learn German so that she can communicate better and she wouldn't have more career options in her field. Lucy wants to travel more in Germany and needs to understand German when she speaks to locals, so colloquial phrases are a priority. We now have a clear insight into the mindset of the user, and we are creating for. This gives us the hypothesis statement. By taking into consideration that she's a competitive and creative person, we believe that adding gamification and social component to the app, we keep Lucy focused on learning German. By making the app customizable to her goals and lifestyle and giving her the ability to track her progress will empower her to learn more and set new goals. Lucy will be engaged with the progress through the variety of learning methods such as visual and audio. So now that we know our user, let's relook at the brief. The app calls for short sessions, variety of learning, and progress tracking. These are key priorities for the app in order to be successful for Lucy. Now let's look at our first prototype, Wordish. Wordish is an app that helps you learn a new language with the use of writing, speaking, and visuals to achieve your goal in a short time frame. We first set out to make a wireframe and prototype in order to create something to test. A wireframe helps to understand the flow of the information, while the prototype is great for testing. Our first task was onboarding an app and logging in and creating an existing account. So the splash screen helps to reinforce the app's goal. Lucy has a busy schedule, so I understood that the onboarding process needed to be short and convenient. We did this by adding in the Facebook and Google buttons for quick access to the app. We also allowed Lucy to personalize the app by letting her choose her level and set her goals with the reminder. The homepage of the progress tracker at the top of the page to motivate Lucy. The app has a short features tour highlighting key features and showcases how you can easily add words. The second task is to learn words associated with traveling. From our persona, we understood that being able to pick out words was an important element to her. From the homepage, the user can pick practice words and is given the option to pick from a category. We added in this option because we understood our user wanted to learn German for certain situations like traveling or for the workplace. We also knew the user needed a variety of ways of learning in order to learn a language. We use the microphone, imagery, and fill in the blanks in order to do that. A quiz module pops up. Understanding that our user is competitive, we made the quiz against the clock, and it also reinforces the learning. So after making the prototype, I conducted 3 usability tests. Usability tests helped the designer get a clear understanding of what was working and what wasn't. From the feedback, I organized the errors using the Jacobs-Nielsen's rating scale and prioritized any errors that impeded the user from using the app successfully. So for task number 1, the observations were made that the copy wasn't very clear, which stopped the user from following the onboarding process. This was a clear top priority for us. Another was unclear use of the reminder. This meant that some people opt out of it without knowing the use case and how useful it would be for their progress. And finally, the making of the navigate more easily through the process. So here are the revised screens for the onboarding one, or for task 1. The Get Started button, in the first prototype, it did say sign in, which can be confusing. Now Get Started is much more clear messaging. The next point was to make sure it was easy to navigate back and forth through the app. This means adding a back button where it's needed. This also meant that some navigation issues when people didn't know where they were within the app. A title page on top of the home made this more comfortable. The results from the testing of the second task highlighted the need for a way to encourage the use of the learning process. The ability to move back in the observation while reducing the navigation features. Moving on, the results from the testing of the second task highlighted the need for a way to encourage the user to use during the learning process. The ability to move back and the observation while reducing the navigation features while the user was in quiz mode was an interesting element. Here are the revised screens. We added the back buttons during the sessions, which made the user can navigate quickly. We added encouraging screens after the user had a correct answer, which encouraged the person and allowed them to move on. Here's the prototype of the latest version. And now for my key takeaways. Each stage of the UX process is integral in creating a well-functioning tool for the user. I felt that in every step of this process. Use empathy and keep the persona in mind at all times while designing makes the tool work for the person it's intended for. This was very helpful while making the wireframes and prototype, and it's something I will definitely keep in mind for the future. Test, analyze, and revise. Nothing is final and alterations can be made. It can be overwhelming when you first start the wireframes and prototyping, but knowing that it's never the final problem, that you can always adapt, test, analyze, and revise, and changes can be made in the future. Thank you for taking your time to listen to me, and yeah, have a nice weekend. Thanks. Bye.